You know what separates a professional landscaper from a weekend warrior? It's not skill or experience. It's the tools they refuse to work without. Professional landscapers lose money every single day their equipment is down. They can't afford to buy garbage that breaks, so they figured out exactly which tools actually work and which ones are just expensive paperweights. I've spent 15 years in this industry, and there are 5 tools that every single successful landscaping crew has in their arsenal, and most homeowners have never heard of 3 of them. The third tool on this list will cut your job time in half and cost less than dinner for 2. But big box stores don't stock it because there's no profit margin in something that lasts forever. Stay locked in, because I'm also revealing the gimmick tools that landscapers laugh at. The ones that influencers push, but professionals wouldn't touch. Let's get into it. The first tool professional landscapers swear by is a quality landscape rake. And I'm not talking about the flimsy aluminum garbage you find at the hardware store. I'm talking about a true contractor-grade bow rake, with a steel head and a fiberglass handle for final grading, spreading mulch, leveling soil, and breaking up clumps that a normal rake just pushes around. Landscapers grade dozens of yards every week. They need something that won't bend when it hits a rock, won't snap pulling back hardpan soil, and won't fatigue their arms after 8 hours. Professional models have heads that are hot forged, not stamped, which means denser metal and tines that hold their shape under serious load. The difference between a $15 rake and a $40 contractor rake is the difference between replacing your tool every season and handing it down to your kids. I've seen landscaping crews using the same bully tools or Ames bow rakes for over a decade with welds that don't fail and tines that stay straight after thousands of hours. If you're doing serious yard work, leveling a new lawn, installing a patio base, spreading 3 yards of mulch, you'll burn through a cheap rake in 1 weekend. The investment rake pays for itself the first time you don't have to stop mid-project because your tool failed. This is for anyone serious about their landscaping, whether you're a pro or a homeowner who actually works their property. The second tool is something 90% of homeowners don't own, but every landscaper has within arm's reach. We're talking about a soil knife, sometimes called a hoary knife. And this thing is a game changer. Picture a fixed blade knife with a serrated edge on one side, a sharp straight edge on the other, and measurement marks etched into the blade. Japanese landscapers have been using these for centuries for good reason. This tool does the job of about 6 other tools. You can dig planting holes, cut through roots, divide perennials, edge beds, pop out weeds, saw through tough stems, measure planting, depth, and pry up stubborn rocks. Professional models are made from hardened stainless steel or high carbon steel with full tang construction, and they come with a leather sheath that actually lasts. Brands like Nisaku or DeWitt are the gold standard. The blade is thick enough for leverage but thin enough to slice through dense soil and roots. The serrated edge saws through roots that would dull a regular trowel, and the straight edge gives clean cuts for transplanting. I've watched landscapers transplant 300 plants in a day with one soil knife, something that would destroy a plastic trowel in the first hour. Ask any professional what's in their belt, and a soil knife is always there. Because when you're paid by the job, not the hour, speed is profit. The downside is cost, between $30 and $60, and losing it on a job site stings. But you won't lose it because you'll use it every time you step into the garden. This is for the homeowner tired of fumbling with 5 different tools, or the gardener who wants professional efficiency. Wait until you see tool number 3. The secret weapon that lets landscapers finish in hours what takes homeowners all weekend. If this is helping you avoid a costly mistake, hit like so YouTube shares this with more homeowners who need it. Tool number 3 is where we separate the hobbyists from the serious operators. I'm talking about a dedicated bed edger, specifically a manual half-moon edger with a long handle and a foot platform. Not a string trimmer flipped on its side, or a spade shovel you're forcing into service, but a purpose-built edging tool with a sharp curved blade for cutting clean lines between your lawn and your beds. Landscapers need clean, defined edges fast because that's what clients pay for. A quality half-moon edger lets you step down, drive the blade vertically into the soil, and create a perfect 90-degree edge in one motion. The blade slices through grass roots and soil. The curve follows. Bedlines and the weight means gravity does most of the work. Professional models use heat-treated steel blades that hold an edge for months. The socket where the handle meets the blade is reinforced because that's where cheap edgers fail. The handle is usually 48 inches or more for leverage without bending over, saving your back. I've seen landscaping crews edge a quarter-mile of beds in under an hour, creating lines so clean they look machine-cut. Brands like Radius or Fiskars make versions that will outlast your career, while homeowner versions with plastic handles and thin stamped blades will bend, break, or dull after a few uses. If you've got beds to maintain, or you're installing new landscaping, this tool is non-negotiable. It's for the person who understands that crisp edges make the difference. Once you use a real edger, you'll never go back. But we're not done yet, because tool number 4 is something most homeowners have never even seen. And it's about to change how you think about soil preparation. We're talking about a broad fork, and if you've never used one, you're missing out on one of the most efficient soil aeration tools ever designed. A broad fork looks medieval, basically a horizontal bar with 2 handles and 5 to 7 long steel tines pointing down. You drive the tines into the soil with your foot, pull back on the handles to lift and fracture the soil, then step back and repeat. This aerates compacted soil without turning it over, which preserves your soil structure and microbial layers, while breaking up hardpan and improving drainage. Landscapers use these when preparing beds, renovating lawns, or working around tree roots where a rototiller would cause damage. The tines are typically 12 to 16 inches long, spaced about 4 inches apart. Made from hardened steel that won't bend even in clay soil. The handles give you maximum leverage, so you're using your body weight and leg strength instead of just your arms and back. One person with a broad fork can aerate a garden bed faster than 3 people with shovels without destroying the soil biology. I've watched professional landscapers prepare an entire quarter-acre garden in a single afternoon using broad forks, something that would take days with conventional tools. This tool has been used in European market gardens for hundreds of years, and it's experiencing a massive resurgence as regenerative agriculture folks rediscover how effective it is. The Meadow Creature Broad Fork is the gold standard, made in the USA with lifetime guaranteed steel tines. The drawback is price, between $200 and $400. And if you've got heavily compacted clay soil, your first session will remind you of muscles you forgot you had. This is for the serious gardener, the small-scale farmer, the landscaper renovating properties who needs to fix soil structure without machinery. If you're building beds, fixing drainage, or taking your soil seriously, this is the tool that professionals reach for. And now we're down to the final tool. And I saved this one for last because it's the most underrated, most overlooked, and most universally useful tool in the professional landscaper's kit. You're clearly someone who wants to buy once and buy right. That puts you ahead of 90% of buyers. Tool number 5 is a quality contractor-grade wheelbarrow. And before you click away thinking you already have one, hear me out. Because the difference between a homeowner wheelbarrow and a professional model is night and day. Most people buy a $60 wheelbarrow from a big box store with a thin steel tray, a wobbly wheel, and handles that flex under load. Landscapers are moving literal tons of material every week. They need a wheelbarrow that won't fold in half loaded with wet concrete, won't get a flat tire halfway through a job, and won't dump its load because the tray bent or the wheel seized up. Professional wheelbarrows have 6 cubic foot. Trays made from 16-gauge steel or heavy-duty poly that won't rust or crack. They've got pneumatic tires with real bearings, not the friction-fit garbage that seizes up after a season. The handles are braced and reinforced. The legs have wide footprints so they don't sink into soft ground. And the whole thing is balanced for moving heavy loads without destroying your back. Brands like Jackson or Ames Contractor Series are built like tanks. I've seen the same wheelbarrow on job sites for 15 years. Still moving rock, still hauling mulch, still going strong, while homeowners are on their 4th or 5th replacement. The wheel is positioned, so most weight transfers to the wheel, not your arms. The tray is deep enough to hold volume, but shaped so material doesn't get stuck in corners. Every single landscaping crew has these, and keeps them until the wheels literally fall off. And even then they just replace the wheel and keep going. The honest drawback is cost and storage. Professional wheelbarrow runs $150 to $300 and takes up real space in your garage. But if you're doing any yard work, hauling mulch, moving soil, spreading gravel, the right wheelbarrow saves your back and saves you time. This is for anyone who's ever had a cheap wheelbarrow tip over, get a flat, or bend under load. Now before we wrap up, let's talk about what to avoid. because the landscape tool market is flooded with garbage designed to look professional while failing spectacularly. Here are the red flags. If you see plastic components on structural parts, walk away. If the warranty is less than a year or loaded with exclusions, that's the manufacturer telling you it won't last. If it's only sold at big box stores, that's often a value-engineered version made to hit a price point, not a performance standard. Be wary of combo tools that promise to do everything, because tools that try to do everything do nothing well. And if you see a celebrity, endorsement, or influencer partnership, ask yourself if that person actually uses it for 8 hours a day. The professional tool market exists separately from the homeowner market for a reason. Pros buy tools that make them money. Know the difference and buy accordingly. Any of these 5 tools will still be working when the cheap alternatives are rusting in a landfill. And there you have it, the 5 tools professional landscapers use that most homeowners don't even know exist. A contractor-grade bow rake for grading and leveling. A soil knife for everything from planting to weeding. A dedicated half-moon edger for clean professional bedlines. A broad fork for soil aeration without destruction. And a real contractor wheelbarrow that'll move mountains without breaking. Buy any of these and you're done. No replacing them every few years. No wasted weekends fighting with tools that don't work. The tool market is designed to confuse you, to make you think expensive means quality, or that cheap means value. It doesn't. Learn the difference between contractor grade and homeowner grade. Buy once and move on with your life. Hit like, subscribe, and comment which tool you're adding to your arsenal, or tell me what you've been using. I read every comment. And if you want to know the best way to maintain your tools so they last even longer, check out my video on tool care and maintenance that'll save you thousands. Now get out there and upgrade your kit.